Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I am your host, Brandis Daniel.
I'm your co-host, Sybil Amuti.
And we have with us a special great girlfriend, Miss Joi-Marie McKenzie.
Woo! Yes! Thank you, ladies, for having me. Thank you, girlfriend.
Joy, this is like way overdue, right?
It is.
Yes. But it's a new year, so I'm so happy that we could finally connect and talk about my favorite topic, which is love.
Ooh, and let me look at you. That's Sybil's favorite topic.
You're pulling my heartstrings already. That is my topic. I'm going to give you the patience award because you definitely were patient with us when we went on a recording hiatus and a scheduled hiatus, and we were just like, we on hiatus, and then everybody got to deal with it. But thank you so much for checking back in with us and bringing this topic forward.
I love it. Me and Joy got a chance to connect at. Now this is why I love the Great Girlfriend Circle.
Okay.
Because she and I reconnected at Sherry Riley's book signing in Harlem.
Yes.
Oh yes, Sherry.
I love Sherry Riley. Shout out to her.
Yes.
Yeah. So I love the Great Girlfriend Circle. It's powerful.
It is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Joy, where are you from?
So I'm from Baltimore originally. Or if I was home, I would call it Bmore, Baltimore. And I grew up there, born and raised, and I went to University of Maryland in College Park, where I fell in love with DC. And so I started my journalism career off in Washington, covering nightlife and parties and celebrities coming into the city. And that was like at a time when like the Obamas came and so every black person was just trying to come to DC, and it was just an amazing time. And then I moved to New York it's been about 7 years since I moved to New York, and now I'm working at Good Morning America to keep my lights on. But yeah.
That's so awesome.
So good. So you said journalism career, and that's you in broadcast journalism, correct?
So it's interesting. I'm working for a broadcast company. Obviously, it's on TV, but I'm one of the writers. And so there's so many producers and people behind the scenes that make that show work. And so I'm one of the writers for their digital platforms. So their social media platforms, their websites, and even digital videos. So I'm really on the digital side, and I define myself as a writer first. But those skills translate whether you're doing, I've worked in radio before, I've worked in magazines. So, a writing career it can get you far. Don't listen to them when they say writers don't make any money. It's not true, because a writer, you can work anywhere, honestly.
I love that. That's definitely a different perspective. So how was your weekend, Joy?
I had an amazing, I had to work this weekend.
Okay.
But I took off for Martin Luther King Day because it's our day. And we need to remember him and remember his contributions. But I had an amazing, relaxing weekend. How about y'all?
It was good. What you do, Sybil?
Oh, Kidville, child. Kidville. My son turned 9. Shout out to Sam. Yay. My baby. He turned 9. So, sun up, sundown celebration. Boys slumber party. 8 4th grade boys. Sunday we went to church, but we still had more slumber party. We have kids here now, but that's my thing. I live for having the kids around.
Yes.
And Legos. I built a lot of Lego projects this weekend because that's what he wanted. Whatever you want, boy, it's your weekend. So yeah, so that was really it, and just kind of regrouping from stuff that I had to do last week, but it was great. So, great girlfriends, I hope that all of you had an electrifying weekend. I was on social. I peeped some of the activity.
Yeah,
it was popping out there.
Yeah. We went to go see Proud Mary.
Did you?
We did. I actually put a note in the Great Girlfriends group because we bought tickets for Friday, and then we just
I saw that.
We just couldn't get out. We couldn't get out the bed. But Great Girlfriends in the group, nobody claimed the tickets.
Oh my gosh!
And but we end up going on Saturday morning.
Oh.
And
how was it? How was the film?
It was good, but it was like I am so like romantic comedy. I'm the romantic comedy girl. I can watch Hitch like 55 times. I probably have have watched Hitch 55 times. I know those lines better than Will Smith. But it was good though. It was really good. It was like non-stop action,
Really?
bang bang, shoot 'em up.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like
Good.
all in Rich's shirt, like I can't watch it. Okay, tell me what just happened.
Oh my God! Did he like it?
Of course he liked
So it was good. It was a good date film.
Yeah, it was a good date.
Okay,
film.
so
It was definitely a
I'll
good
take
date
Kwaku out, dress him up, and take him out.
They have the new theater in Brooklyn with the where you can order the food.
Yeah,
and
the iPics.
yeah, it was nice. Yeah, so it was nice. We had a good time.
Oh,
Sky was with the grandparents.
I was just about to ask, where was my Sky?
I know. I dropped Sky out Friday night.
She
We
was
needed a
tucked
minute.
off.
Yeah.
Date nights are essential. I'm telling you. We are actually overdue for a date night. So if there's any babysitters out there, holla at your girl. Because apparently I don't have one anymore. That's another episode. That's a whole other episode.
Oh, I love it. Well, I got a chance to talk to Joy and about the book and her story, and I was just like, okay, this is so good. Our great girlfriends are going to love this.
Yay!
I was like, they're gonna love this. So, all right. So, Joy, where do you want to start? Where do we want to start?
All right, so I'll just tell you my story, and please jump in and.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But you wrote a book called The Engagement Game.
Yes, it's called The Engagement Game, and it's a memoir. And I always tell people it's not a how-to. It is not. It's not. After you read, you're not going to magically, find your husband, but you might. But it really is my story. And I hope that in sharing my story, it can help someone, inspire someone, or illuminate something for someone. So basically, I found myself in a 5-year relationship. Happy. I was happy, but I was frustrated because I'm like, where's my ring? And we were that couple who talked about marriage openly. We looked at engagement rings online. We had talked about our kids and what they would look like, and fantasized about this whole life that we wanted with each other. But when it came down to putting the rubber on the road, I'm like, okay, when is he going to propose? And it took him forever. So at 5 years in, I go to my older sister. Her name is Jasmine, and I'm like, well, what did you do? Because you're happily married. Like, maybe I'm doing something wrong here. And I was raised in a family that was very much like, okay, little Joy, go to school, get good grades, get a great job, have good credit. I wasn't in that sort of family that was like, okay, Joy, when you grow up, find an amazing husband. That was not what my parents preached to me. They were like, be independent, have your own. And I really feel like that's just what my mom wanted for herself, growing up in the 60s. But I do sort of wish there was a little bit of balance, right? Because that's what I do want a partner in my life. Anyway, so I digress. But so I go to my older sister and I'm like, well, what did you do? She says, okay, well, you got to play the engagement game. And I'm like, what is the engagement game? It sounds interesting, but I'm not sure. And so the first step of the engagement game was make a list of what you want in a husband. And people say this, and I'm like, well, I don't know about that. Like, I already know he's my husband. I've already picked him out. And she's like, no, like, take a step back. Make a list of what you want. Have you ever thought about what you wanted aside from him? And at 28 years old, that's how old I was when I wrote the book. But at 28 years old, I had never really asked myself what I wanted in a partner, and my ideal partner. I just, whatever cute guy showed up, I was like, okay, I can make this work.
Right.
You know how that is. And so it was a shift in my thinking. I was like, wow, okay, I have choice here. And I have a say, in who I fall in love with and who I choose to be with. So that exercise was fruitful. And she had a lot of different other suggestions. One of the other suggestions was date yourself. And I was the type of woman who I didn't like to do anything by myself. I forego some of my habits and my hobbies and the things that I love to do because I didn't have a partner to do it with. And my sister noticed that. And so she's like, you know what? You need to take yourself out on a date. Like, what are those things that you are just not doing because you don't have someone to do them with? Do it by yourself. And so in the book, I write about going to see a movie by myself. And it was initially a very scary experience. because I'd be judging people. I'd be like, oh, why is she by herself? Like, she's sitting over there looking all sad. But honestly, I go to the movie. I do. I'm just keeping it. I do. But I don't be doing that no more. God is working on me. But so I go to the movie. I buy the tickets in advance because I'm like, I can't even fathom, going up to the ticket counter and being like, yeah, just, one ticket. Like, I was like, nope. I'm not putting myself through that. I am going to buy the tickets ahead of time. I timed it perfectly so that when I got to the theater, the lights were already down.
Wow.
I'm telling you, I was like, nope, you're not going to catch me slipping. I put my stuff 2 seats down so it looked like somebody was coming. I did the most. I did it so that you don't have to do it. But when the movie lights came up, I found myself at peace. I had did it. I did this scary thing, and it wasn't really that scary at all. And I had enjoyed myself. I had a really good time. And the advice that my sister had told me earlier was just ringing through my head. Like, you will never be comfortable with someone else unless you are comfortable being alone. Mm-hmm. You just won't. And that really resonated with me. And I took those lessons and, tried to make this relationship work. So it was almost like putting a square peg into a round hole. I was just trying so hard to make something work. And of course we break up anyway. Because the truth of the matter was I kept hearing this small voice in my head telling me to ask him what his intentions were. And some people call it intuition. I called it God. But basically God was telling me, ask him what his intentions are, because baby girl, I already know they're not pure and he's not the one for you. Mm-hmm. But because I was happy in this relationship, I'm like, well, how can I leave somebody that I'm happy with? And, God, I know that you want the best for me, but, this is a really great guy. Long story short, I sort of have my Solange moment, I like to call it, where I drink it away and I travel away and I'm just living my best life. I'm single, after 5 years, and I'm enjoying every single minute of it. But the reality also was I was running away from the reality of myself just being alone and being uncomfortable with being alone and really being lonely. And I think a lot of Black women, especially Black professional women, we like to just forget about our loneliness and try to cover it up with things and with work and with activities. But I was coming home every night very lonely and just so lonely that it was debilitating. And by the grace of God, I was able to get out of that. My mom is a preacher. And so I was able to get free help from her. But if I didn't have her in my life, I would have sought help, because I was in this place where I was happy that there was a dog on the other side of the door when I came home, but I was also very upset that there was only a dog there on the other side of the door when I came home. I'm like, it's just me and you. And I don't want it. And something's got to change. Yeah. And so I had an epiphany. And, God told me, you kind of played the game all wrong. Like you kind of started this whole situation backwards. And instead of making a list of what you wanted in a husband, you should have made a list of the type of wife you wanted to be. Because every great relationship starts with yourself. And so I did that. I'm like, oh, gotcha. I did that. I made a list of all the things that I wasn't happy with myself. And so one of those things was I started cursing a whole lot. I never cursed before, but I was so frustrated. And sometimes your frustration comes out like that. And so I said, okay, stop cursing. Start smiling more. My mom told me, she was looking on my Instagram feed and she's like, Joy, you've lost your smile. Because, mamas be noticing everything. And I'm like, oh. And she's like, yeah, she's like, I named you Joy for a reason. You've lost your smile. You have to get back to that place. And no one could do that for me. Nothing could do that for me. No work could do that for me. I had to do the hard work by myself. I realized I was a shapeshifter. So in relationships, I would be like, oh, you like go-kart riding? Okay, me too. I like go-kart riding. Or you don't like a girl that wears a lot of makeup? Okay, no, fine. I can be that girl. Instead of just standing in, or just instead of having the courage to become the authority on myself and saying, this is me, take me or leave me. And once I got the strength to do that, and really just started walking in my purpose and writing this book and, doing the things that made me happy and trying to improve upon myself as a woman without anybody. Of course, God was like, okay, you're ready now. And he sends this tall, dark, and handsome man to my line sister's wedding. I was just minding my business. And, this guy comes up to me and he's like, oh, when we get married, how are we going to tell them we met? Because they won't believe us. And I'm like, who are you?
That was his line?
Yes.
What?
Excuse me? Real facts.
That brother came
2 years later.
Wow.
I'm still looking at him and just amazed. But, I really believe that I wasn't looking for him. And when I was single, and people were like, yeah, you'll find it when you're not looking, I'd be like, ugh, that's so annoying. That's the most annoying advice when you're single and looking, like, stop looking. Mm-hmm. But I really believe that was the key. I was more focused on myself and trying to better myself and trying to do what the universe has called me to do rather than looking for a man. And that's when he showed up, talking that smooth talk.
So the difference now I'm hearing is your focus in the relationships. Is where relationships are concerned. It's you seeing more of your responsibility of what you bring to the table versus putting a majority of the expectation on whoever your significant other may be.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, and I was also intentional. I have to give myself a little bit of grace because I was very young when I started that relationship, and I wasn't necessarily looking for a husband. I was just, oh, this guy's cute, let's date. And then you find yourself 2 years, 3 years in, and you're quote unquote supposed to now talk about that next step. Mm-hmm. Not realizing that I had a choice. I didn't have to marry this guy, but everyone's saying, oh, y'all been together for a while, we're not getting married. Mm-hmm. And so there was so much pressure around me. And also my friends were moving on. They were getting married. They were getting engaged. And I'm in that space in my life where I'm scrolling on Instagram and every third photo is a perfectly manicured hand with a ring attached to it. And suddenly you think, oh, I'm supposed to have that too.
Yeah.
And so I was comparing myself. I was trying to rush the process, not realizing that this guy's a temporary, not my permanent. And I need to realize that and keep it moving to find my permanent.
Wow.
I love the engagement game. I've actually seen it as a film.
I know.
All right.
I'm seeing it as a film because I can see how the tables turn in the film, and I can see even how we meet them, and then we put all this pressure, all this commitment on this one person. You have to be almost everything that society says you have to be versus you two or two people sculpting a story.
That I think that is so key. This is a new concept where people say, I'm looking for my soulmate. When you look at the history of marriage, it wasn't always like this, and so we put a lot of pressure on that one person in our life to be the moon, the stars, the sun, everything.
To fix all of our issues. Mm-hmm. If we don't have money, we're looking for somebody who can cover our money issues.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever issues we got, we're dreaming of that guy who's gonna come and magically fix all those issues.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the doctor, he gonna be a doctor, he gonna every single thing, and I think that's unfair. It's unfair. So I have to find the peace within myself. I have to find the happiness in myself, and the person that I choose to be with, that I choose to fall in love with, they're the cherry on top. Mm-hmm. That's just the added extra. But he's not gonna fulfill me, and he's not gonna complete me. He's just not. I'm already complete. So
yeah.
Wow.
Joy, tell me, can I back in and I want to just ask you, what purpose do you place behind a marriage? Do you know why you want to be married?
For me, and this is something else that I write about, but for me, my parents, they'll celebrate 50 years this year.
Awesome.
And so I'm just in awe of them and their relationship. And so I've seen two people who have really committed to each other in a way that I admire. Mm-hmm. And so early on in my parents' relationship, my father was the breadwinner, and my mother sort of went where he went, moved to the cities where he had to move. And now the tables are reversed. Now my mother's the breadwinner, and my father's retired, and so they have a very equitable relationship where both of their interests and both of their dreams have been able to foster and be fulfilled. That's rare. And I know how lucky I am to have both parents who I believe they're still in love. They seem happy. And so I want that for myself, because I've seen it such a close-up example, and a healthy example. And also, I also had to unlearn what I thought I wanted. So for a long time, I would pray for a husband. I'd be like, yes, I want a husband, I want a partner, just because I felt I should have it. But I was talking to my godmother, and she had this prayer that she had posted on Facebook, and I write about this. My godmother is another preacher, because all preachers hang together. They do. Birds of a feather, they flock together. And so my godmother posted this prayer on Facebook, and she tagged me in it. And I'm like, why is she tagging me? Like, what's going on? I'm reading the prayer, and the last line of the prayer said, and I pray for her a covenant spouse. And I'm like, now that's not what I've been praying for, but it's close. And so I'm not a preacher myself, so I go to Google, and I'm like, what is a covenant spouse? What does that mean? And so what I learned from doing my Googles was that a husband is only defined in relationship to his wife, but a covenant spouse is defined by his relationship with God. And that was the sort of relationship that I wanted, one that had God in the center of it. And so, yeah, that's why I want marriage. It really is, because I believe it's a spiritual foundation for my life, and I believe that's what God has for me. I still believe that, even though I'm not married yet. Not yet, but it's coming.
Yeah. Well, I think that's so good, because what I was hearing you talk about earlier in the story was this relationship filling voids, and you were talking about the idea that being alone equaled loneliness, and that you had to reset to make sure that your purpose wasn't so that whomever came into your life wasn't filling that void, but he was complementing the person that you are. And I think for our girlfriends, it's so significant for us to understand that difference between a person coming in to complement who you are, the person who can go to the movies and have that experience and enjoy herself living life without having to have people feel these moments, versus someone that's actually trying to fill voids and fill absences and feel these insecurities that we carry sometimes. And that's a very great turning point for you in the book, and also for our girlfriends to really focus on. I hear that as a different focus, which means the guy that you with now, he's getting another Joy. He's getting a 2.0 version of of the woman.
Thank the Lord.
Right. He's getting
so lucky.
He has a different opportunity, and we talk about that in Love Is Part 1, Episode 2 of the podcast. We talked about that. I shared a story about how I had a relationship that he really didn't have a fair chance to love me, because I ain't love me. So how could he possibly? How could he give me anything that I didn't have to offer myself? He didn't even have a chance, and so. So many women, we put so much expectation. Love the parts that I don't love.
Yeah.
Enjoy the parts that I can't stand.
Yes. All of it.
Instead of it being, I have found, this place of wholeness and a sense of fulfillment on my own, and I offer that to you.
Yeah.
That's totally a whole different relationship.
That's a whole different relationship. Totally. Absolutely. Now, in your book, I know you mentioned something about some engagement chicken.
I sure did.
I gotta know
have we made the engagement chicken?
You know what? I'm a bad cook. Cooking and me do not get along. Cooking doesn't know my name. So, I bought the chicken thermometer, but I never got the opportunity to cook the chicken. So for those of you who haven't heard of engagement chicken, please Google it. It's hilarious. I don't think it works. But so my sister was, I don't know, because I haven't tried it, but my sister was telling me she said, okay, this is the last step of the game. If you really want to cook engagement chicken. And I said, girl, are you crazy? What are you talking about? And she's like, this is a real thing.
Oh my gosh.
I said, okay, I'm going to Google it. I Google it and I find a Glamour magazine article that says, this is how you cook engagement chicken. And the writer of that article goes on to say that all of the editors at Glamour tried it and all of them had success. They had gotten engaged after cooking this chicken because it's supposed to sort of signal to your partner, I'm domesticated, I can feed you, marry me.
That's priceless. Oh my goodness.
I'm trying to tell y'all, people really believe this. And there's also something, now that I've been sort of going around and talking about my book, older women have told me, yes, there's also something called engagement spaghetti.
What?
That our parents' generation cooked. Yes.
Listen.
Food is the way to someone's heart.
Okay.
That's what they say.
I'm going to testify that when Kwaku and we had the epic third breakup, I mean, we were on full hiatus. This is so funny that you say that. I have got to research that. I made him a pot of spaghetti.
You didn't know you were making engagement spaghetti?
I stand before you, a woman who made engagement spaghetti. Came to his door with a pot of spaghetti, and he opened the door, and I was like, I brought you spaghetti.
That is
hilarious.
Let me tell you,
I had no idea.
we were at home. We were home for Christmas, and we went to go visit two of our friends that are married. And while we were there, her sisters happened to be in the house at the same time. We've been knowing each other since we were like super young. And her sister's like, yeah, she caught, I'm going to say his name is Willie. Yeah, she caught Willie because she was over there pretending like she can cook. Why was her mom was cooking full meals for her dad, and she would put something aside and say, don't nobody touch this. This is Adrian's. Because Adrian has met this new guy, Willie, and she needs to be able to cook for him. But Adrian couldn't cook. So she would bring the food to her house, invite Willie over, put all the food in pots.
Oh my gosh.
No, she did not put them in pots, though. No, she did not.
She was domesticated, like you said. I love that. There's something special about a meal. I'm hearing that. That's something special. I love that.
And we were
Adrian.
laughing so hard. And so her sister was like, Willie, you got duped. And here go Adrian on the other side saying, well, you got to use what you got.
Look,
to
Mama
get
was
what you
there.
want.
I'll figure it out. But Mama got me for right now.
Right.
I love it. You got to be resourceful. And I don't think it's necessarily about luring a man as much as it's speaking his language.
Yeah.
Speaking his language, whatever that language is. And that is so funny, though. This chicken, we're actually looking at the glamour.com article, and I think that is absolutely hilarious because I don't, as a woman, I don't believe that, you have to work to get him to give you a ring, but showing up. Adrian had Mama cooking. My mama need one extra plate.
Right.
Please, Mama, because food matters to him. And until I figure this thing out, Mama, help me out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some people order fresh direct, whatever that is. So Adrian had her mom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how to cook. I cooked like 3 things. And the one he liked, I was like, I'm going to bring him the one he liked. That's all I know how to do. And that's all I know how to do. That's all I knew how to do.
That's what you got to do.
You just got to.
I now have 5 meals in my rotation.
You need a rotation. And until you do more, you do the best of what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That is so good. I love it. I need to comb through this book and laugh because I feel like I'm going to have, I'm going to be laughing and enjoying.
It is not sad. It's not sappy. It's it's good girlfriend talk. It's a good kiki. Because we need help.
Yeah.
We all trying to get there.
Well, we looked at our number 1 topics over the last few months on iTunes. Our most popular episodes were all about love and relationships.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and so many people will say, "Oh, we love the Great Girlfriends for the business tips or entrepreneurship tips," but quiet as kept. That's not what the numbers say. The numbers say that everyone is trying to get a little dose of that love language so they can take it home.
Yeah, that's awesome because I feel like especially now in such a contentious time, like people forget that like being loved and knowing how to love is a basic thing that crosses every political side, every business, every single thing. And we underestimate the value of love in our lives. It's important.
Absolutely.
It's important to love other people. It's important to, and also not just find love in your interpersonal romantic relationships, but also in your friendships, in your girlfriendships, in your family members, in your sorors and your sisters. Like, it's important to have that foundation of love, and we can't overlook that, and it's important.
I love that.
Preach, Joy. Preach.
I love it, Joy. So how can people?
Don't get started.
You know it's in your blood, right?
In your blood.
Yes, I know. I don't listen. I do not want to be on that pulpit. No. So I minister in other ways. I can't. God is working on me yet.
So how do people find the book, Joy?
So the book is available wherever books are sold. It's on Amazon. It's in Barnes & Noble. It's on iBooks, your Kindle. We have an audio book. It's on Audible. And you can also go to my website where all those links are listed. It's Joi-Marie.com. That's Joy, Joi, Marie.com, and it's all there. But please reach out to me and tweet me and follow me and let me know what you guys think of the book, because I hope this could be an ongoing conversation throughout this year. And I've learned a lot from other women, honestly, in talking about my book. So I'm happy that it's out there.
What's the number one thing you've learned from talking to women about your book?
I'll say the one thing that has surprised me the most is that this love thing and getting it right and learning and becoming better, it doesn't just end, at 30 or when you get married. Right. So, or, at any age. So I've had women who are 60 years old come up to me and say, thank you for writing this book. And thank you for reminding me that I have to love myself first before getting into a relationship. And even married women coming up to me and say, you know what, I remember being in that stage where you are, but this book has helped me in my marriage now. And those are the things I'm like, wow. Because, as single women, we think as soon as we get married, life is going to be fixed. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be great. But the reality is that we're all in a process.
Girl, that's when the real work starts.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. That's what they say. And so, it's not just you get married and life is grand. It's you get married and you have other things to worry about. And relationships don't just become perfect because you have a ring on your finger. It's really a process. And those are the conversations I love to have because I'm on the journey and I want to be prepared. I'm one of those over-preparers, like, okay, so what can I expect? So I just love having the conversations with the women who are there, who've done it, and who are just a little bit older.
I love it. Well, Sybil is over here scrolling through the engagement chicken recipe.
Listen, you have to maintain these marriages.
She's sitting over here taking notes. This is not a scroll, actually, Joi-Marie. She is going to go buy a chicken and make this engagement chicken for Kwaku.
You got to maintain them. You got to keep the love flowing. And I love how step 6 says, and here's the secret: pour the juices from the roasting pan of the chicken. Pour that on top. That's where you get the ring. So the ring is in the juice. That's what I'm hearing from this recipe.
And the night that Meghan Markle got engaged, they were cooking chicken.
Really?
Did you read that?
No, that's so
Meghan
funny.
Markle and Prince Harry, they were cooking chicken. So I mean, it's a thing.
Wow.
That is hilarious.
Wow.
I had no idea. This is so interesting. That is so interesting. And one secret about me is I don't make whole chicken. So that will be real. I got to figure that out.
I know.
I might have to get someone to make this for me. I don't touch a whole chicken.
So me and Sybil will both be making engagement chicken for our husbands.
We will let the girlfriends know whether or not we got a new ring. What upgrades did we get?
Right.
I love this. Please, I want to know. I can't wait to find out.
We're going to keep you posted. Joy, thank you so much. The engagement game, so excited. Girlfriends, make sure you go out and you purchase one for yourself, one for your girlfriends. We are making sure that we start our year in love, we close it out in love, and that we continue to give all the resources that our girlfriends need to center their lives in love. So thank you so much, Joy. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And you want to keep us posted on your story, your love story.
I sure will.
Beautiful.
Y'all just pray for me. You know, we're spending our Martin Luther King Day together and trying to volunteer, and
So good.
we're moving in that direction.
I love it. Well, we close out every episode by thanking our husbands and our significant others.
Yes. Thank you, Kwaku.
And thank you so much to Mr. Rich Daniel.
Aw, thank you, Anton Lewis. All right.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes. And then we thank our kids. Thank you, Sam and Dylan.
And thank you to Miss Sky. They're all upstairs now, Joi-Marie.
Yes. So thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Joshua. Our sitters.
For being up there watching the kids for us. We appreciate it.
My nephew came over to help.
Yes.
Thank you. Shout out to the nephew.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
And thank you, great girlfriends, for trusting us as your go-to source for everything life, love, and laughter. Make sure you're listening every Wednesday on iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Republic, Podcast Bean, Blueberry, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and every other podcasting service.
Absolutely. And please check us out on social, on our Instagram,
The Great Girlfriends,
our Twitter,
_Great GFS,
our Facebook.
The Great Girlfriends.
And please join our Facebook group where sometimes you can get free movie tickets and all kind of other things in there and connect with 16,000 plus other great girlfriends.
Absolutely. Make sure you post your questions online. You share with your friends. Keep listening and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil.
I'm Brandis.
And she's Joy.
Oh, yeah.
And we're signing off.